What is this life if full of care we have no time to stand and stare? No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep and cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. No time to see in broad daylight streams full of stars like skies at night. No time to turn at beauty's glance and watch her feet, how they can dance. No time to wait till her mouth can enrich that smile her eyes began. A poor life this, if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. And so we come to our third introduction of Stop and Stare. Streams full of stars. What a lovely image. At once it transports us to some bubbling brook or gurgling mountain stream, every ripple catching the sun's rays, so that the water seems to twinkle like the night sky. Is that all the poet intended by his metaphor? Probably, but his words bring home how just as the brilliance of day can call to mind the grandeur of night, so also much else around us can point beyond itself, speaking of altogether different realities. Even the most everyday things of life can suddenly take on a wholly unsuspected dimension. The song of a bird, the cry of a baby, sight of a rainbow, pattern of a snowflake, sound of the sea, or simple beauty of a flower. Special in themselves, they speak to some of the wonder of our universe, to others of the spiritual dimension, and to others again of God. An old saying makes the point well. Two men looked out through prison bars. One saw mud, the other saw stars. Instead of seeing ugliness, we can see beauty, reason to hope instead of despair. That's not to say everything is subjective, rather that on occasions our minds must first be opened if we're to appreciate the full wonder of what's there in front of us. Isn't that what Jesus was saying in his celebrated words on the mountainside? See how the lilies of the field grow. They do not labour or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his grandeur was clothed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today, yet tomorrow is thrown on the fire, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? That's in Matthew 6:28-30. Look properly at the ordinary things of life, Jesus tells us, things as commonplace as a flower in the meadow, and you will see God's hand behind them, a truth he applied in so much of his teaching, using parables and metaphors to illustrate profound truths. To the eye of faith, the apparently mundane can take on a completely new dimension, speaking not just of the wonder of this world, but also of God. In his poem, Davies clearly had the world of nature in mind, and with good reason, for it can speak powerfully indeed, but so also can anything and everything to those who are ready to stop and stare. To borrow the idea of John Donne, no one is an island sufficient to themselves. Our lives are interconnected, our world a complex network of relationships. The site of a supermarket, for example, might speak of farming and food production, trade and economic issues, environmental concerns, the international community, Sunday trading, out-of-town shopping. A doctor's surgery may speak of expectant mothers, terminally ill, medical research, or God's healing touch. A school may speak of young people, the privilege of learning, the importance of discipline, or unfathomed mysteries. and so we could go on. But we will only make the connections if we are ready to look, and to do that we must learn to stop and stare. To pause, in other words, during the press of a busy day and see beyond ourselves and beneath the surface. That's why it's so important to make time and space in our lives, for ourselves, for God, for others, and for God. To learn to make room for all, and we will see life in a new light, and God in all of life. Amen.